as well make a mead.
Sure.
And, I think the question came up, well, what kind of mead? Well, whatever talks to us at the farmer's market, I would assume, the time of year you're coming, there's a full bounty of the wonderful harvest of the Southwest. And, we do a lot of, purchasing of honey and all of our fruits and ingredients at that time, and we're doing, concocting. So we thought it would be fun to have Got Mead come in and do a one-off specialty mead that we could prepare and 6 months down the road see what it tastes like.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Finally, I was telling AJ earlier.
I can tell from the high-pitched noises exactly how excited you are. You're squeaking all over the place.
I'm squeaking all over the place, yeah. I was telling AJ earlier that I will never open a meadery, and I've had a lot of people ask me. But I've spent 20 years watching other people open their meaderies and getting to visit with them and getting to talk to them and getting to interact with them. And if I open my own meadery, I'll still get to do some of that, but it'll never be as Got Mead again because I'm no longer. I've stopped being that Barbara Walters of the meat industry is what I like to call myself.
Barbara Walters.
Baba Wawa, yeah. For those of you old enough to remember the old Saturday Night Lives, Baba Wawa, yeah. But yeah, it sounds just like Elmer Fudd. But. But, I mean, I would never have that sort of off to the side looking in viewpoint. I like that I'm between the home people and the professional people, and I have a viewpoint that is neither of those than both, So it's a lot more fun for me. That's what I enjoy doing, and besides, it gives me a perfectly good excuse to go wandering all over the country for 2 months while working, and visiting meaderies. So... I'm really excited about the idea, and you're going to have to send me honey samples, Greg, so that I can taste the honeys ahead of time so that we can start plotting some of the possibilities that we want to do so you can get your TTB approvals in time for, when I get there.
Yeah, absolutely. I've already kind of started. So,
why am I not surprised? Oh, this is going to be so much fun. So much fun. Hamish is going, where? When?
Yeah, and, wait till you see the farmer's market here. It's, it's a lot of fun. And, I was thinking we don't necessarily have to have TTP approval before
True, yeah. We can start making it and then go for the approval, which would be more fun. So everybody who's listening out there, this is going to be kind of like Anthony Bourdain does Mead, only I'm not as cool as Anthony Bourdain, but still, it's going to be, that's what it looks like in our heads.
Yeah, so you go to different parts of the country and you embrace the different flora of that area, and come up with your own recipe, your own formula.
Ooh. No pressure.
You get to tell the story, and you get to experience that part of the world by identifying with people's senses. When you taste meat, you smell it, you touch the glass, you feel the temperature of what's inside. You can see it. You have that whole experience about if it's coming out of a wine bottle, the cork opener, wine opener twisting into the cork, and the pop of the cork coming out of the bottle, and the glug glug going into the glass, and you're hitting on all cylinders. When you taste, when you smell, when you see, when you touch.
Yeah.
And that becomes an implanted memory, and people are so receptive to information at that point that it sticks, and that's why it's important to, for me, I found is just doing business over a good meal has proven to be an important part of how I do things. is generally done at a good meal.
Yeah.
Or something around food.
Yeah.
So it sticks in there.
It really does. I mean, it's we associate so much with food. I mean, shoot, some of my strongest memories that aren't that aren't officially affiliated with like a smell first are also and instead of associated with food that we've had. Like gatherings with my grandparents, or when Grandma would make ham from the hams hanging in the basement, and
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's just so good. And I remember in college, we would go home from college, my husband and at the time my boyfriend and I, and his mom canned and my grandmother canned. And so we'd go raid the basement and the cellars, and go get in the shells. We'd get mobbed when we go back to school because we'd have jars of peaches and raspberry jam and,
Where did you guys grow up in, like, Lancaster County? Was this Amish paradise or what?
No, just I grew up in rural northwestern Michigan, and my husband grew up in Flint, Michigan, on the other side of the state. And we started dating in college, so we'd alternate breaks going home to his house, my house, his house, my house. And his mom, his parents were older. He was the youngest child. So, his parents both came from farm families. So they just carried those traditions forward. And then my grandmother was a farmer, and so that was, for her, that was a thing. I mean, my dad grew up in a house with no running water, no indoor plumbing, and they got their milk from the cows in the backyard, so, or rather in the pasture behind the backyard. But, so that was the kind of thing that I got used to, having those canned goods, although I didn't get the benefits of the milk straight from the cow. My grandfather wasn't keeping cows by the time I was old enough to pay attention. But, yeah, but I mean, the pigs came from somebody's pasture. You didn't go to the store to buy pork. I mean, duh. You went
to the neighbors.
You went to the neighbors, yeah. And when I go home, I go to where my folks live is a huge Mennonite community. Although we're not Mennonite, they're just since I've moved out of the area, a lot of Mennonites have been migrating into the area. I don't remember them being there as a kid. But there's a Mennonite farmer 2 dirt roads behind my dad, and they keep cows, and I'll go over there and get homemade cheese and butter and milk that they've got from their cows that morning, and oh God, it's so good. And up until this year, they had cheese curds, but they don't do cheese curds anymore because it's too much labor, and they've got so much business they can't do them anymore. I was crushed. I literally drive 700 miles for cheese curds,
There's a place not far from here that does cheese curds, so you'll just have to put Ontario on your list.
We're definitely putting Ontario on the list because Appomonia 2019, woohoo! Yeah, it's gonna be in Canada, so we'll just have to swing up there, pick you up on the way, and head on up.
Just don't make me drive in Montreal. We'll be fine.
We're not going to drive in Montreal. We're going to park the car outside Montreal and take the metro. I'm not driving in Montreal. I'm not stupid. You see what we're like, Greg.
Yeah, I do.
This is AJ and I have known each other for a while, but we have fun. We also have plots, but that's another story. So does Dara just comes up with recipes and you just keep the trains running on time? Make sure that that he's like buying honey and stuff when he's supposed to?
Yeah, I think, part of, mostly what I do is, I've taken what Dara has called his homebrewer gone wild concept and taken it to...
It sounds like Dara.
a different level, one that is, one, going to be profitable and 2, scalable. So what I do is... the fun part is going out and finding honey in the state, because with the type of license I have, 50% of the honey I use to make mead has to come from New Mexico.
Interesting.
We actually use 100% New Mexico honey because we just have tons of amazing honey here. But so I go. And I have these connections with farmers and beekeepers because I've had the restaurant for so long that I if you want to find farmers, you don't ask farmers, you ask beekeepers. Beekeepers are they're the smartest people in the room generally. A little weird, but they're generally the smartest.
Well, you're usually
and
pretty
if you
smart,
want to know something, if you want to know something about the weather, about agriculture, about timing, about food, about trends, get your information from beekeepers. And information is very different from opinion. And you can formulate your own opinions and make decisions on those opinions based on good information. And beekeepers have it. So what I do is I source the honey. Dara also had some good sources of honey, but I was able to bring in a few different ones, as well as beekeepers know where all the fruit is, especially the wild stuff. And just the logistics. I'm used to moving a lot of food and stuff around on a daily basis, and I have the infrastructure to do all this at our big commercial kitchen, to process fruit and make our own juices and tinctures and different infusions for the different meads, and so we do a lot of the testing. I studied organic chemistry, and I moved on to culinary arts because I didn't quite fit in. So
I was going to ask when organic chemistry became a part of the culinary arts training, but okay, you help me with that.
You believe, actually, I somebody who was in my organic chemistry class in my engineering department actually went on to culinary school too, so I don't think it's that uncommon.
Well, it wasn't really a choice for me. It was, I was 16. I was very young. I was had gotten into Johns Hopkins and was, in the throes of organic chemistry. And academically it was fine, but it was my experimentation in the lab that caused my professor to have a few issues, especially after Hollandaise gone wrong and. Doing different emulsifications and trying to temper chocolate and all this stuff. I had really done some serious damage to the lab, to be honest with you.
Making what is it, fondant that they're always making on the cake shows? Everybody wants to make fondant,
all that stuff.
God.
Yeah. So I was escorted over to the culinary arts school in Baltimore, which happened to be 2 blocks away. And
they escorted you 2 whole blocks? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, giving me a talk the whole time of
how not to destroy lab equipment 101.
You're not going to be coming back to our lab. And I was like, oh, shit, my dad's going to kill me. But then he says, if you want a lab, check out this lab. And walking up the stairs to the culinary arts building in Baltimore, these 2 guys come walking out, and they jump into a convertible Alfa Romeo, and they got their knife bags and their skull caps on and their white chef coat, and everyone's mistaken them for doctors. And these 2 beautiful young women walk up and say, well, where are you guys going tonight? Oh, we're going to Lexington Market. We're going to have sushi and drink Sapporo. And they hop in the car and they zoom off, and I look at Dr. Fardnish and his interns with the pocket protectors and the greasy hair, and I think to myself, thank you. This is awesome.
Oh, gosh.
So I was, by the end of that day, I was enrolled in culinary school, and never looked back. I did wind up going back to the lab, on occasion for basically, I liked some of the surgical steel, especially the little containers that held equipment and things like that. I was making, Christmas gifts and packaging things and sending them out, and people liked it. But yeah, I was the Meadery, and you know,